Speaking of explaining, your former boss was in Boonesville, Indiana the other day, and this is what he had to say about his wife.
There was a lot of fulminating because Hillary one time late at night when she was exhausted misstated and immediately apologized for it what happened to her in Bosnia in 1995. Y'all see all that? Oh, they blew it up, and you would have thought, you know, that she'd robbed a bank the way they all carried on about this. And some of them, when they're 60, they'll forget something when they're tired at 11 o'clock at night.
All right. First of all, it was 1996 rather than 95, which is a much different time frame in Bosnia. There was no immediate explanation or apology. It took at least a week. And it didn't happen late at night just once. In fact, the first time we can find was back in December. Let's watch.
We used to say in the White House that if a place was too dangerous, too small, or too poor, send the First Lady. So, you know, we landed in one of those corkscrew landings and ran out because they said there might be sniper fire.
And then 2 months later, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I remember particularly a trip to Bosnia where the welcoming ceremony had to be moved inside because of sniper fire.
And then 3 weeks later, bright and early in the morning.
I remember landing under sniper fire. There was supposed to be some kind of a greeting ceremony at the airport, but instead we just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles to get to our base.
And later that same day.
There was no greeting ceremony, and we basically were told to run to our cars. Now that is what happened.
What actually happened was leaving the plane and strolling over to a rather extended greeting ceremony, just contrary to the way Senator Clinton had explained it. James Carville?
Look, I love the man, okay? And he taught me the lesson every time I teach a class on political consulting. He taught me a lesson, and he said, you know, every time that we make it about us, it hurts us. Every time we make it about them, it helps us. And President Clinton broke his first fundamental rule of politics is the voters want an election about them, not us. And I think his wife's advice to him, as I understand it, she told him to shut up on this subject, was probably some pretty good advice. But I think that he understands that, and I hope that, you know, and I think that the Senator Clinton's campaign and President Clinton are going to spend the rest of the time talking about voters and their problems and not talking about... Any time that the history of the Clintons is when they make the election about themselves, they don't do as well. When they make the elections about the voters, they do better.
What about that 3 a.m. phone call if she's exhausted at 11 p.m.?
You know what? I love that man so much, and he gets out there and he defends his wife maybe too much. He just... Yeah.
He's kind of an unguided missile in this campaign, and he's hit her rather than the opponent.
And I had to look at this again today.
Look, it's funny, but he's become a bit of a self-parody. That's why we're all laughing, and that's the Clinton problem. And they're so casual with the truth, and admittedly small thing. I don't understand how our mind works to think about it. When you go into a combat zone, do you bring Sinbad the comedian in case things get rough? You know, it's funny, but it's also the Clinton problem and the Clinton fatigue issue.